Everybody else, but now I got to ask you, how did you do in the softball game yesterday? Who were some of the standouts?
I thought I was very mediocre offensively, pretty solid defensively, but our team competed. Came down to the bottom of the ninth. We had two runners on. One out, couldn't produce, but there was a lot of surprises out there. Some of the coaches, some of our performance staff. Solo went deep. He had a big home run. A couple great outfield plays by Jaw had a couple good outfield plays. So overall, Tyus had a great couple snags. Anthony was man at first base. So I thought the guys had great energy, loved it. Just kind of get outside the basketball world for a second.
Why was that something you guys needed?
I just think, I wanted to reward the guys. I think it's been a long preseason, and as I think I started the day off yesterday, I said I'm a big believer. You got to work hard, you got to put in the time, but then you also have to enjoy the experience. I'm a big believer of that. So to kind of get out of the basketball world for a few hours and go have some fun and bonding opportunity, and it's fun getting some of our guys that probably haven't played baseball before, especially some of our international players / coach. Get them in some uncomfortable situations, but putting big smiles on people's faces, and just paying it back to those guys. Hopefully it creates great energy, and then come in and have a great day at work today, and we'll find pockets throughout the season to recreate some of those moments.
Did you have a no slide rule?
We did have a no slide rule. Unfortunately, one of our coaches tried to beat out a play. Luckily, it was coach on coach, and we let that one, no pun intended, slide. But for the most part, it was healthy competition.
Overall, what's your main preseason takeaway now? As you've seen guys in some live action, you have a better sense of where everybody is and where your team is.
Yeah, number one, as I've talked about since day one, like our guys compete. Sometimes our execution may not be great, or we may not be making shots or something like that, but our guys are competing. They're trying to get better every single day. I feel like over the last, especially after the Charlotte game, we needed to take some big strides in our defensive execution, effort, awareness. Really pleased with how we handled Oklahoma City and San Antonio. And then offensively, I think we're starting to settle down. I think we're still, trying to figure out the nuances of the offense, the spacing, all the terminology. But from day one of camp, back in October 1st, what is it now, 21 days later, I've been really pleased with the guys' growth. Every day coming in and, we're focused on one different area, offensively or defensively. Our guys kind of own it, and they try to get better in. We've been seeing the improvements in the games, and now we get our first real test, come Wednesday.
Jonas going to be good to start opening?
Yeah, that's the plan. So he had a great day in practice today. See how everything responds, but the plan is for him to be ready to go on Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday night, what do you expect from the Heat, especially with the addition of Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, the Heat, historically, is just an ultra-competitive team. They're a team that's going to play a lot of pressure on you defensively with how physical they are on the ball, how much they go over. They collapse, they're athletic and physical, and then offensively, how they put a lot of pressure on you to guard one-on-one. They're a team that loves to drive it, get a piece of the paint, kick. I know they've got a lot of guys playing positionless basketball, trying to attack and transition, so it's going to be great for us, all the things we've been working on in camp, trying to take that, individual and collective pride defensively, and offensively how, we got to trust our offense, as physical as they're going to be and athletic as they're going to be, and how much they're going to, put pressure on us. We got to execute our stuff and, work through it. So it's something I've experienced when I was in Atlanta and Milwaukee, how hard that team plays in Miami, and we'll be ready to go.
Kyle also cleared for opening.
Yep, Kyle's good to go.
Rush recovery response is going to be big for Jonas over the next couple of days. How much catch up does he have to do schematically, just conditioning-wise, to get where you want to get?
Yeah, I think Jonas is actually in a great spot. He and I were talking. Obviously, he's got to get his game legs right. Everyone got pretty much 4 or 5 preseason games, and he's got to catch up in that area. But for us, like schematically, knowing what to do offensively and defensively, like he was locked in. So. In today's practices, like it's not like he didn't miss a beat, which is great. He just got to get his game legs going. But he's such a smart guy. Got a high basketball IQ, good feel for the game, so he's gonna pick up that stuff great. And we saw that today, and we'll just see how tomorrow he responds, and we'll be good to go.
Will he be minutes limited or anything?
Yeah, we'll be smart with him. Obviously we wanted to take a conservative approach in the preseason, and work with the performance team, including him. Everyone's on the same page of how we're going to manage his minutes early on, and gradually over time get him to where he's probably going to be, for the majority of the season.
You have the full starting lineup?
Still working on that. I'm going to keep that to me right now, and I'll let that out, in the next day or two.
When it comes to your lineups and rotations, how much are you weighing, fit versus maximizing opportunities for maybe some of the younger guys who are trying to prove themselves?
Yeah, I think both of it. For me, you got to earn, the minutes. So for me, as I've said all along, it's like trying to figure out that chemistry. I think I'm starting to see it, and we're going to play a lot of different lineups, different combinations throughout, and it's going to evolve over the course of the season. As guys play better with others. So obviously we've got a young group, and a lot of those guys got to get that game experience. So that definitely is kind of part of the puzzle.
In terms of what you thought, in terms of what you thought guys might be able to do, but you weren't sure of, who showed you something, kind of confirmed a belief in the preseason?
A lot of these guys are kind of doing a lot of stuff that we expected. I've actually been really pleased, with Marco, who's probably had, the perceived biggest, hill to climb coming from international style basketball. I love how he's competing, getting through screens, guarding pick and rolls, the playmaker, and doing it at this level, and being able to break down a NBA defender and get into the paint, whether it's to score or to create. So he's definitely all of our guys. It's kind of lived up to what we've expected, but he's definitely one that's been a good surprise in how he's grown.
How much of a difference did you see between the early preseason Dylan Brooks and then late preseason? Like, he went out for 30, obviously,
Sure.
but just from a comfort level standpoint, did you notice a difference in him at the end?
Yeah, as he and I have talked, it's striking a good balance with him. Like, he's ultra competitive. I feel like he's been pretty consistent defensively, especially in the last two games. San Antonio, he didn't have a 30-point night, but I felt like he was really competing. Defensively, he's gotten better as we've gone game by game, and then he's got a scorer's mentality. So it's trying to play to his strengths and find the right opportunities to be a scorer mentality, but also a playmaker. So he spent a lot of time in his vitamin work and film work trying to grow in those areas, and I felt like in the last two games he was a beneficiary of playing just within the system against OKC, and shots just didn't fall against San Antonio, but I felt like he played a pretty good, clean style offensively for us.
How does Jonas's return most impact Jaren's usage relative to what we saw in preseason?
Yeah, as we've talked about all along, our bigs are pretty versatile. So with Jonas slotted in, Jaren will be at the 4. And then, if JV's out of the game, we've got depth at our bigs. JJ may play some 5, which he got exposure in the preseason, which is good for him. So kind of creating that versatility for him. So 4 or 5, those will create those opportunities.
What went into the decision to release Ivan and Miles over the weekend? How'd you come to that decision with the roster?
Well, it definitely wasn't easy. Obviously, over the summer with all the moves that we made, we kind of knew that we were going to have to make some hard decisions. It took us down to the wire, where we made our decision over the weekend. So a lot of evaluation, guys getting their opportunities. Really pleased with how IV and Miles were professionals here, competed, contributed a lot to the team. We just knew we had to make some hard decisions, and we're really excited about the group that we got come opening night.
To what do you attribute you guys have struggled finishing at the rim a lot, especially against the NBA competition? What's happening?
Yeah, sure. I mean, number one thing is we're getting to the rim. And I love that. That's a big part of our offense. Is we got to be able to get a piece of the paint. We got to, collapse the defense. In time we'll make it. It's one of those sometimes you're scratching your head, like what can we do better? We're making a huge emphasis on finishing in our vitamins, getting the game speed, and I think it just kind of goes to the totality of guys trying to just figure out where they're getting their shots and one of those opportunities, whether it's a layup or a pull-up jumper or a catch and shoot 3. But over time, as our guys settle in, we'll be knocking down those shots just like we'll be knocking down more 3s.
Does that become part of just getting comfortable with the layers of the motion that you're trying to put in place?
Yeah, 100%. It's not just on, Ja or Tyus to get all the layups or all of our bigs to get the layups and the dunks. It's all 5 guys. We want to be able to score at all levels. So it's definitely comfortability, and, I'm excited to see, when we start making those shots and, where our defense is trending, how we can be a really good team.